Right. Well, now we're on to the last two episodes. Interestingly,
I think you can speak about them as kind of one.
yeah, we'll do it as one. Basically, big media people got access to the first 8 episodes early, but they didn't get these two. Interestingly,
And these are the worst. Like, they're not interesting at all. Like,
well, these.
this
two,
is exactly what we're talking about. Like, you know what's gonna happen. These 2 episodes do not add anything to watching like the Qatar, the Saudi, and the Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so
they add nothing.
9 and 10, called Gloves Are Off and Hard Racing. They cover Qatar, Jeddah, and Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi saved as the last one, and yeah,
It's boring. I think you can tell Max's absence. Like, it does make a very big difference.
definitely. Yeah.
I think that's why I'm saying if you got Nico in or someone who kind of represents that kind of adversary to Lewis, someone who's had that experience of fighting against Lewis and all of that. That's why I think he'd fill in well for Max. But obviously he'd speak as kind of like a pundit or like whatever, not as obviously Max, but
Yeah.
not even someone from his corner, but explaining kind of what Max is going through. That would have been way, even if they got Jos Verstappen to speak.
Oh yeah.
Or if they got
yeah.
Helmut Marko, or got someone other than Christian Horner to speak about what he's going through,
Yeah.
it would have been so interesting
'Cause
instead
there's
of just this.
There's so much Horner already. And then to
Exactly.
make it a 2v1, because Lewis, as much as he doesn't talk that much, he's still in it, and he still does the odd, like,
You
we have
do-
clips of him and we hear
Yeah.
him. So to hear his voice in the little interviews and stuff, and then just to cut to Horner trying to clap back or say whatever his opinion is, it's just like we've now got the team principal and the driver's opinion versus just the team principal, and you can tell it's just a bit of an imbalance.
It's interesting seeing
Yeah.
like behind the scenes in the engineer rooms where Lewis
That
is
was
looking
really
at the footage and like double waved yellow flags, all of this.
That
But
was-
it's just
I
like
loved that. I
that's
liked
literally
it.
like 1 minute of like the whole
I know,
episode.
it's so annoying because the thing is, like, I understand coming at it from a new fan's perspective, everyone's
But this
already heard
season
of
4 as
Lewis.
well.
Like, this is season 4. But, like, in general, like, okay, from the beginning, a new fan's perspective, whether you're American or whoever you are, you've heard of Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
So to learn more about Lewis Hamilton, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really do justice to the other 19 because we like, if you've heard his name before,
And
You're
most
not-
likely in
it's
the
not gonna
US
make
you already
you-
know him.
yeah, so you're not going to be more inclined to watch F1 because you get more background on Lewis Hamilton. You're not really going to care as much. But if you learn that these other 19 drivers are actually interesting people worth knowing about, then it kind of makes it more interesting. Because Lewis has done enough for his name already. But if you get these other 19 and give them a platform to express themselves, then it's quite interesting. Now we've come to this point where everyone knows all of these drivers. Like, all of these Drive to Survive fans, they've now contributed to F1 social following, the drivers' social following, they're buying merch, they're fans, they know about Lando and Quadrant and all the things he does, and then all the other drivers' ventures outside of F1, whatever it is. Like, the point I'm making is, like, you know all about all of them as much as you do. Why not now shed light on Lewis? Like, he's the biggest star in the entire sport, and, like, he doesn't really do that much media anyway. So if he's giving you the courtesy of, like, these interviews and stuff, dig into him a bit further. Like, maybe he might have not let them fully go into detail on his life. But, like, to go into the angle of how he's F1's first, like superstar, essentially, like, actual celebrity, then it would have been interesting. Because, the guy goes to, like, all these big social... Like, he was sat next to Zendaya in, like, Paris Fashion Week or whatever it was, like, literally a couple weeks ago. Like, no other driver is doing that.
Yeah.
So to get shots of him going around the world and doing all of these things, and then going into F1 and destroying the competition, it just... And his opinion on that, it would have been really interesting to see.
It would have been a new angle at least. Like, at the very least, it's a new angle.
But
I think with the last 2 episodes, I think the first episode wasn't that interesting. Like, the Qatar Saudi thing was just...
no, yeah,
It was boring. It was just very boring. I don't think, like...
It was
if you
just a
watch-
race.
If you watch the races, it would be fine.
Yeah.
In
like
terms of the
Saudi was
last
just a
race,
as well.
Abu Dhabi did not require its own race, to be honest. I think the way they covered it, though, like, what was interesting is they got all the drivers pretty much saying, oh, it's unfair them unlapping, like, I think it kind of showed the FIA in a bad light, him breaking the rules, Michael Massey and stuff. Not in a very bad way, but in a bad, like,
Not
it
to the
wasn't a
extent
good,
it was, but it was negative, yeah.
yeah, like all the drivers saying this is unfair, and like even like people speaking like or narrating saying that you're supposed to unlap everyone, and, but I don't think it did justice to the fact that Yeah, Max was the only beneficiary.
Yeah, so that was the quote that was given, which is cool, and all of the other
But it
drivers.
doesn't
were shown.
highlight exactly
like-
how bad it is.
Yeah, like you're right. It was negative, but it was like negative here, and the extent to which it happened was like. I'm not even talking like exaggeration, dramatizing. I'm talking the reality. The rule was broke. Like either the rule was broken in two places, or two different rules were broken. I think the rule was broken in two places. But either way, like so, the rule was broken in two places. These are things that have never happened before. And it was all made for the drama of the last lap because they're manufacturing it, blah, 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 blah.
Stefano, what was his name? Stefano
Oh my god,
Domenicali. He's
yeah.
like, oh, we just have to put on a show and stuff, and he's the head of F1. And then when you actually hear that and you see Michael Massey and stuff, and what he did and him unlapping half the teams, it fits in exactly with what he wanted. He didn't want Mercedes to win anymore. He didn't want that domination. And it fits perfectly in with Michael Massey letting those 5 cars unlap themselves.
Yeah, because
literally, it fits exactly with what he's saying.
It's perfect.
They manufactured that win,
because
it's disgusting.
Yeah. So what you're referencing is like right at the start of the episode, they go up to her and they're like, "So, who do you think's winning?" And everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Max Verstappen or something." And then Stefano Domenicali, owner of F1, just comes in and he goes, "The political answer is Formula One." And then, we're going on about how they're level on points and this is going to be incredible. And then they come in and obviously you get the brand new champion. You have your last lap drama. It is the perfect situation.
He said at the beginning as well of Drive to Survive that, Mercedes have been dominating for so long. And we need to, it needs to change or the sport is going to be affected. He said this at the beginning of the season. Yeah, that's why I'm saying it fits exactly. This stuff he said for Drive to Survive fits exactly with Michael Massey it fits exactly with him, like all the new rules, regulations targeting the Mercedes, which is okay. And then it fits exactly with Michael Massey breaking the rules for Max Verstappen. When you see all of this together, you're like, yeah, it was just made because they didn't want Lewis to win again.
Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest.
It makes you not want to watch F1, to be honest. That's like, when you see all of this, it doesn't make you want to watch F1.
It's annoying, yeah. It's really off-putting, to be honest. Like, I've still... I don't know, personally, it still kind of puts me off. Like, obviously I'm going to watch the races and it's interesting stuff, but just knowing all this stuff is happening in the background and it's so shamelessly happening in front of us as well. Like, before, if it's hidden away, you don't forgive it, but like it's happening and you're like, okay, well, I'm aware of it.
At least it's not this obvious.
But oh my god, like the fact they know they can do this now in front of our faces and get away with it is actually horrible. And the fact Lewis is still, like every time I see Lewis, I just feel bad for him. Like they're just sat there like rubbing it in his face and he's got like, no one's even just admitting that it was like.
I don't think they can get, like the backlash they got after it though, was like quite intense. So I don't think as well, especially with the having to let Michael Massey go and having to change the system and all of this, I don't think it will happen, or at least I don't think as well it won't happen again this badly.
I guess.
But I think last year was just like Michael Massey was just unqualified for the role. What was interesting was the clips where what's his name is speaking, Lewis is speaking to Toto and he's like, Baku just haunts me. Something like that.
Yeah, something.
See, this is what we wanted. Like, Baku was such a good thing to speak about how Lewis dropped the ball, and for the first time in 5-6 years, Lewis actually dropped the ball. Like, as in, it's his fault.
The win was there, and
it was his fault. Like, it's nothing else. Like, if he'd won Baku, he would have probably at the end won the championship. It's just
we're doing hindsight stuff.
No, but I'm saying like imagine that one win could have led him to a championship. But yeah,
it's tough. I guess once again, this episode was Abu Dhabi big race.
I don't get it. Abu Dhabi was also like.
It was a boring race in general to be like
It doesn't require an episode.
It just followed the race again. So I get it. Like the races are interesting. Saudi, a lot of stuff happened, a lot of drama.
They didn't cover Saudi that well as well.
And then Abu Dhabi, same thing, a lot of drama, Perez defending, blah, 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 all of this, interesting. But there's a difference between interesting race and interesting Drive to Survive episode.
Okay.
Like, you can't just copy and paste the race into the episode, add some dramatic music, a couple pauses, and then, like, Will Buxton quotes, and then say, okay, cool, that's it. Like, that's not how it works. If it's an interesting race, show us the key points, maybe a bit of context, remind us what happened. And then once it's over, skip over and get some interviews afterwards. Like, after Abu Dhabi and the championship was won, there's very little left in the episode. There's probably 5 minutes. We already know who's going to win. Why are you trying to hype it up? And then when we get the 5 minutes, it's just Toto with a couple menacing threatens about winning next year. And then Horner going, like, there wasn't even that much on Horner celebrating. He's been waiting years for this moment, and you're not even going to let him celebrate it properly. Like, as much as it would have pissed me off in rugby, like, just annoyed me seeing him going on about it, even though they, like, didn't even win it fairly. Through no fault of their own, obviously, blah, blah. But there's nothing there. Like, where's him running back to his family and celebrating with his kids and going, oh, look, Max Verstappen's a world champion, and then going on about it for the next 4 years? Like, nothing.
They only just got him getting that helmet from, what's his name, Max?
I know.
It was just, they didn't do it justice. I think they spent way too much time on stuff they shouldn't. Like, I think if they did a review of the race or, you know, follow along with the race, then Saudi deserved its own episode, not Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
like, I'm saying they shouldn't do it, but I'm saying if you're gonna do it, that's the episode you do it. Like, that's the race you do it.
I mean, they did a bit of that as well, to be fair.
But it wasn't enough,
there was just a lot of shots of, you know, there was the brake test, which wasn't even covered properly, really, to be fair. But you're not really going to cover that, are you? Then there was a lot of, you know, Max going off the track. To be honest, I feel like Max spent more time off the track in Drive to Survive than on it. Like, every 3 episodes, I was like, oh, Max Verstappen, he's overtaking him off the track. Will he get the place back? And then they switch and all of this. Like, it was, I don't know. Overall,
poor. I'd say, like, season 1 was probably a bit better, to be honest. Not that I remember season 1 much.
Yeah, not that I remember.
It wasn't that interesting.
We'll see what they do next year. Hopefully they actually do something interesting.